So here I have two of the vehicles, 2 out of the 3. The other one doesn't fit. But if you've watched the one where I talk about the DR10 and the drag slash, well, you already know which one's my pick and why. But here I'm going to do my first, second, and third pick, and then I'm going to tell you why. Let's see, so this one weighs in at 1,638 grams. So that's how much it weighs with wheelie bar, everything. I'm not weighing the body and I'm not weighing the battery because you can swap those between the vehicles. So there's really no point. So what was that, 1638, I believe? Now this one right over here, now remember the drag slash was almost 300 grams heavier. This one is 1,825. There's the wheelie bar I took off. Wow. This one weighs about the same as the drag slash. So for all intents and purposes, even if there are a few grams, if there's a little difference, I'm going to say they weigh the same for the purposes of this. So now, because I haven't really talked about the Losi before. So the front suspension, don't really care for it. It doesn't really droop much. So when you accelerate, it just wants to come up. Now you can move these. I actually moved them out just so this would droop a little more. Still doesn't help as much. That's pretty much the way it sits. Versus the DR10, they droop quite a bit and you can't beat those arms. One of the best designs. So let me start with the drag slash since it's the one that's not here. Drag slash, you have plastic shafts in the rear, but they are massive. They are pretty big, so they will hold. You have an all metal gear transmission. So if you've watched my video where I tear down that transmission compared to the stock transmission and the Proline, you will see that it's all metal gears. The differential is tunable. That's just grease from the cars. It is tunable. This one is tunable as well. Now back to drag slash. It has the horrible, cheap Traxxas shocks. It doesn't have the GTRs. If you want to do the GTRs all around, you're looking at about another $100. Now the good news is drag slash, they dropped the price to $400 as of this video. It used to be $500, which was way too expensive, and I would have never recommended that vehicle at that price point. But now that it's $400, it's a pretty good option. And it comes with an amazing truck body, the drag slash. This one you can get with a beautiful F100 body. Beautiful. I like the yellow one. Yellow one's my favorite. Black one's pretty nice too, but yellow's my favorite, I would say. And to be honest, I'm not really a fan of yellow. But all right, those are some of the things. So drag slash, pros, metal gear transmission, tunable differential. Mickey Thompson tires, they're the widest. They're half a centimeter, maybe a centimeter wider than any of these. Very nice tires. And that's pretty much it. It really has nothing going for it other than the tires and the transmission. That's it. The little trans brake, forget about it. It's not worth it. There's better stuff. Yeah, that's really it. That's really all it has going. Now they're about the same weight. Now this one here, some of the good things. Okay, those are pretty far back, so it's going to help stabilize the body. These are all right, but they're nice and wide. So see how far apart they are. So this will help stabilize the body as well. Versus these are closer, so the body's going to be able to flex more. This is better. And if you look at the rear, the way they're mounted far back, that's better than this. All metal gear transmission, but it is very heavy. The differential is very, very heavy on this one. Now, out of the box, this one came with extremely heavy diff fluid. It's probably 2 million, maybe it's only 1 million, but it feels very, very thick. And one of the issues with that is the following. So if you look at how heavy this thing is, it's really heavy oil. See? So this here, maybe this is 2 million. So if I go ahead and take this one out,
there's the transmission right in here. So I opened up the gearbox. The differential, this is supposed to be a serviceable and tunable differential, but that is it. So here you get those spider gears. So these are the I guess more common on higher end RCs. You get these spider gears, there's a little cross. The nice thing is that is metal, so you get those two little metal pieces that click together like Lincoln log. You have an 18 tooth spur, that's what comes out of the box. Quite some time. But this is it, this is your gear. But one of the nice things though is, I want to point this out, this is one thing that I noticed. Usually the kits, if you look at a B6 kit, well, 6.3 now, that's the carpet one that actually comes with the gear differential, or the optional differentials, they generally come with a plastic cross. This one actually has the steel Lincoln logs in there. So it's actually a pretty nice upgrade. Whenever you have rear wheel drive such as this and you go really thick on the rear fluid, it's going to want to lock up that rear, which is going to make you spin out very easy. So watch, I'm going to spin it slowly. So they're spinning the opposite direction as they should. But now, so you don't have to apply that much force, and they're spinning the same direction. So that's going to cause you to spin out and lose the rear really easy, which is one of the downsides. But right, it's tunable, so you can definitely tune that. Versus, now this one originally came with grease. The drag slash comes with grease as well. Now right now there's 100 weight oil, diff fluid in the back. I think I said 100, it's 100,000. I apologize, 100,000. But notice it spins the opposite way. I can go faster, still spinning the opposite way. And okay, I really have to apply more force. So that's one of the differences. So this one is so easy to drive. If you have seen some of my videos where I drive this, you will see that I can actually go full throttle, and it's very little correction I have to do on the steering to just steer it straight. This one, forget about it. You have to really modulate the throttle, or else you're just going to spin out because of that. But it's tunable, so you can always replace that with, you know, lighter, maybe 100,000. Something like that. So I've been playing all day with this one. Let's see. So, but it is all metal gears. So if you go crazy on power, that's great. You have a place for the ESC to mount on top, which for some people, that's good. All the electronics are in that little box. Capacitors, I just double setted them over there. Now here I put a 13.5, that's why I took the wheelie bar out. Geometry on the suspension, I actually don't like it very much. The front doesn't really droop very much, that's about it. So this will want to come off, that will come off, versus, well, I already talked about this one. But the main thing is, over time, you're going to get excessive wear from the cups and the shafts right there. Why? Because of the angle. Notice how these are angled up the entire time. Now the purpose for doing that is so that the shafts, when you start going fast, they're going to want to straighten out. Well, the only way they can straighten out is by pushing the tire down toward the ground, right? Or lifting the chassis up, if you think about it that way. So it's trying to apply more pressure onto the tires. Well, the thing is, it's always going to be driving like that, so it's going to be excessive wear on those parts. Now, out of the box, suspension is horrible. It really is. The shocks are not filled all the way, so you have to refill them. Now, this comes with stops in the rear out of the box. The suspension is actually very, very stiff. It's not really going to absorb that well. Yeah, that's the difference. So this one, one of two things will generally happen. Well, either really, if it gets enough traction, or if it doesn't, it's going to bounce on those tires, and then it's going to want to go one way or the other. So you're going to fishtail, and then add the diff fluid to it, it's gone. You're going to hit the wall. You're hitting a barrier. So really, what are the pluses of this one? Metal differential, Mickey Thompson tires, but the drag slash are better. So I'm going to I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I would pick the drag slash over this one anytime. I know it's hard to believe, but I would. It comes with wider Mickey Thompson tires. It just comes with better tires. The rear geometry is better than this one. The front, well, whatever, that one's, the drag slash doesn't really have a very good front, but it does have a better front bumper with a piece of foam. If you're not planning on crashing, don't worry about it. I'm kidding, it happens, all right? You're bound to crash at least once. But yeah, drag slash over this one anytime. They're about the same weight, but you get better tires and better rear geometry. That's my opinion on that one. Now, if you have them both as well, you can just let us know how you've tuned them. Again, that one has to be tuned a lot. This one is actually the factory oil on all the shocks right now. Very easy to drive. Now, what are the pluses? The pluses on this one: aluminum body shocks, suspension geometry. This has by far the best suspension. And it's lightweight, almost 300 grams. So if you were to add 300 grams, you could distribute them wherever you wanted. Versus those, well, you can't really do anything to the weight they already have. You're just gonna have to add more weight if you wanna redistribute, balance the vehicle a different way. This one, you can take that 300 grams and put them wherever you want to have a vehicle that weighs the same, but with a weight distribution to your liking. Now, metal shafts, drag slash has the plastic ones, the heavy duty, a little thicker, they're fine. So things that this one has advantages: lightweight, best suspension overall. Now the cons, the tires are the worst, the factory tires. These are not the factory tires, these are Hoosiers. These are far better than the factory. Factories are horrible. The front ones are fine. It's the rears that are horrible. You have plastic gears. Maybe you want to go aluminum. If you keep the stock system, it'll be fine. There's no need for you to spend money on that stuff. But if you do want to add more power, be a little more aggressive, consider changing. I believe Exotech makes those parts. So those are the advantages. Now the downsides to this, already mentioned, the mounting points. Well, let me reference the other ones. The mounting points. That's the downside, and the stock tires are actually the worst tires, so you're gonna have to replace those. Other than that, well, plastic gears, but other than that, everything else is better. You get better suspension, better weight, meaning a lighter vehicle with this vehicle, and this one I think is by far the easiest to drive. Again, really basic. I don't remember the gear ratio. Actually, it's the factory gear ratio. I didn't change it. No, did I? That's something I'm gonna have to look up and probably a different video talk about it. But the differential does have 100,000 weight differential fluid, and that's about it. So a few little things to note. I did add those nylon washers. They're the 440s. That's just the car doesn't bottom out whenever I brake, because the suspension actually does work in the front. This one is actually kind of stiff and then it just goes. But it's too stiff for the braking for it to actually hit. It doesn't hit. This one will go down and then up, droops. Well, put your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? I didn't say my first pick, but DR10's my first pick. Second choice, Drag Slash. Third pick, Losi 22. I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.
What?